So I started with finding hikes that maybe I had been to before by car, but that could also be accessed by public transit. So it basically started as a once monthly public transit series hike for women.
I have been wanting to go on a hike with Melissa Goodwin and her guide service, Girl Gotta Hike, but there is one issue. I am not a woman. And so, our production intern, Olivia Sippel, so graciously stepped up and embarked on an overnight camping trip with licensed guide Melissa Goodwin, who runs this fully outfitted hiking service to encourage women of all ages to connect with the outside world. Here's Olivia with the story.
Hello, my name is Olivia, and this was my first camping trip ever. I met Melissa at the 2024 Margaretville Cauliflower Festival as she stopped by our table to say hi to Brett. Lucky enough, I was tabling that day. We hit it off, and by the end of our conversation, we'd set a date for an overnight hike and camp in the Catskills. I'm originally from the city, from a family that you would not consider the outdoorsy type. We never went on hikes, let alone a camping trip together. Now, I've been on day hikes, but nothing like this. But in the hands of a licensed guide like Melissa, I knew this would be a fun trip. 1 month later, I reconvened with Melissa on the trail, and she told me about her trail name, Click.
Have you heard of trail names?
No.
Okay, so when people do a long distance hiking trail, like the Appalachian Trail, which is 2,190 miles, Georgia to Maine.
Oh my God.
I've hiked the whole thing, and people will get what's called a trail name. It's kind of like your alter ego, your persona. So my trail name is Click.
Click?
Because of my camera. So, yeah, it's like, oh, Melissa might not have her hair in braids, but Click does. I am one, though. Like, the longer I live, I'm like, no, I'm just always Click, I think. Prefer to be Click.
I need to make up a trail name.
Yeah, well, usually, I mean, there's different ways to come about it. Some people say you can't pick one for yourself. I don't agree with that. But I feel like it should come from trail. For me, it came from the trail. Like the trail and the people on the Appalachian Trail were the ones that like helped solidify that it would be Click.
Yeah. Now, the Appalachian Trail, or AT, passes through 14 states stretching from Georgia to Maine. The trail is completed over 2,000 miles and can take 5 to 7 months to finish. For Click, she got to cherish these moments with her dad, as they took on the adventure together. Although she'd already had hiking and camping experience, this was the first time Click set out to complete a thru hike.
I grew up day hiking, car camping, so going to like a state park campground where you would drive the car in, set up a tent. There's a picnic table. Most of the time, at least in the New York State ones, there are also bathrooms. So my parents took me and my brother out to do that kind of thing where we'd hike or we'd swim or we'd canoe during the day and we would camp in a tent at night. But I wouldn't say you're limited, but there is a limit to how far out you can go in a day if you have to come back to your camp at night. So the idea of being able to get a little deeper into the woods was appealing to me. I had heard of the Appalachian Trail. My dad had wanted to hike it since he was like 17. It became like a bucket list for him. And he was going to retire early. And he wanted to hike the AT when he retired. My mom was very nervous and said, I don't want you doing this alone. You need to find someone to go with you. And he said, oh, well, Melissa's a freelancer. Like, maybe she'll have a little time. Maybe she'd want to come out for a month with me. And as I started researching more and learning more, I kind of realized, yeah, wait, I'm a freelancer. Like, maybe I can do the whole thing. You know, maybe I can take the time and energy. And so I did. From there, I just haven't stopped.
And while our hike would only span about 12 miles over the next 2 days, it's important on any hike to sign in. So at the Meads Meadow Trailhead in Woodstock, New York, That's exactly what we did.
So this is a logbook from the DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation. You want to sign in case something happens to you when you're out there, that they know where you've intended to go. A lot of times on a day hike, you're coming back, right, to the same spot. So we put the number of us, 2, and then there's, do you need to check out?
I'm standing.
You need to sign it. Okay, here, I will leave it open for you.
Thank you.
So we're telling them essentially where we're going in case we don't come back. That's 1, safety. 2 is that the usage that they then see in that book helps to fund the region. You know, maybe it says we need to have more rangers in this area, or we need to have more trail stewards, or, oh, this trail's getting super heavy use. Like, maybe we should send out a volunteer group to do more trail cleanup, stuff like that. So yeah, so you'll notice this trail is a bit wider than what we were just on. And that's because at one point there was a hotel up here, and we're heading towards a fire tower. So that's why it's a little wider and clearer right here, as opposed to the footpath that we were just walking through earlier. So, we're at the ruins.
Wow.
Yeah. This is like a hotel that I think it burned down like 3 different times.
3 different times?
Yeah, I think there were a lot of mountaintop hotels that, you know, were all the rage at one point for people of, you know, who could afford it, right? Who could come up and spend the summers, escape the heat of the city.
Well, I was not escaping the city this time. Click and myself explored the ruins around us. It is not only a great hike with her, but an educational experience exploring the mountains.
Yeah, this hike kind of has it all, really, in a way that not everywhere else does. You get hotel ruins, we're gonna get a fire tower, we're gonna get a view, we're gonna tomorrow see a waterfall. Like, that's a lot of bang for your buck.
With rain.
Yeah.
One of the best parts of thru hiking is who you're able to meet along the way. Melissa met some great people along the AT, including one of her best friends, Sprout.
You asked if there were a lot of people from the AT that I'm still friends with. Like, probably one of my best friends, Sprout. She and I hiked the same year. We were in each other's vicinity for maybe 3 weeks, a month, something like that. But at that time, we were 2 of a few women. We were just few and far between. I would say there's a greater mix these days of all genders and a lot more solo females, kind of an instant bond just from that.
Feeling supported like that from others made this multi-month hike just a little bit easier. These connections will last for a lifetime and created everlasting bonds that all started on the trails. Now, Click and I approached our first lookout for lunch. She explained how to maintain a healthy diet while on the trails.
So in the outside of your pack here, I've got us some dill pickle flavored potato chips, which are delicious.
Oh, nice. Those are great.
And there should be another Ziploc with like a tortilla, and I gave you peanut butter. So yeah, just sit down your sit pad, wherever you want. This is kind of like typical trail lunch. The cool part is you can bring whatever you want, as long as it's, you know, doesn't need refrigeration. But in terms of getting a lot of calories in, right? Like a tortilla has 100 calories, probably a burrito wrap, right? And then I've got tuna, you've got peanut butter. This is 110 calories, single serve pouch. I'm gonna throw mayonnaise and relish in it, so that'll add a few more. The peanut butter cups are like 200 each. So you can eat it on its own, you can spread it in the tortilla. You can do like a trailside pizza in a way. You could do sun-dried tomatoes and a cheese stick and, you know, pepperoni if you eat it. All on a tortilla. Flour ones, as opposed to corn, hold up a lot longer, too, in your backpack. So if you're going, you know, many days between resupplies.
After we got to enjoy our first meal together, we got to overlook Fire Tower to enjoy some more beautiful views before heading down to our campsite.
And then tomorrow, we'll keep going along the ridge. So see how it's that deep, like, drop-off? That's kind of where we went down on the Platte Clove and then came back up, so you can kind of see the notch. But right here in front of us This is the Devil's Path. It's 25 miles long. There are 5 or 6 peaks right on the trail, and then you can get 2 more. And when I say peaks, I mean the 3,500 peaks. So the one nearest here is called Indian Head, which I wonder if they'll ever change the name of that. But it's supposed to look like the profile of a head with a long forehead from a distance. To the left of that, you can kind of see there's like 2, one right behind the other. That's called Twin. Then it's Sugarloaf. Then it's Plateau, which is the really, really long one. It drops down, and then on the other side, we can't see it from here, but is Hunter, Westkill, Southwest Hunter. Yeah. And so all of those in a row are called the Devil's Path. And people will hike it in sections. They'll overnight. They'll do like a 3 overnight. Some people do it in a day. It's called the Devil in a Day. I've never done that yet. Sorry, eating more snacks. This is the key to keeping them in your hip belt, is you can just like hike and eat at the same time.
We both got to eat some snacks as we continued on our hike. Personally, my favorite was the fruit snacks. As we walked, talked, and ate, one thing I wanted to know is what inspired Click to start their company and what makes her want to continue.
So through hiking, after spending 6 months on trail, it definitely had an effect on my life. I had day hiked mostly before then, but the need to just get out more often and be out more often was in me, essentially. And people, friends, acquaintances, knowing that I had done this trip, would ask me, hey, thinking about going backpacking, do you have advice? One friend, she was like, a friend invited me to go do this trip with him in Yosemite this summer, and I want to make sure I'm fit. Like, can you load me up with gear? Can we go practice? Right? So she and I started going out, and then there would be like another female friend and another female friend, and it was just, I like hiking with everybody, but there's just something special about hiking with other women where there isn't the I don't want to say one-upsmanship. There's just sometimes there's some ego involved when in mixed company, or this oh, you only went that far? I'm going to go this far. I can flex if I need to flex, but yeah, it just became a really fun thing to do. And also, I'm comfortable going out for a hike on my own, but it is really something different to go out with other people and just have that space, have that time to have long conversations, to pick them up here and there throughout the day and just catch up. Like, one of the friends that I did all that hiking with is a friend from college, and we had, not spent a lot of time together in the intervening years. And so just such a great way to connect and get to know people. That mixed with people asking me advice on where to go and how to get there. And then, my husband getting a little tired of me asking if he wanted to go hiking all the time was sort of like, well, if I'm feeling this way, so you want to get out there with other people, I'm sure other people are too. There's plenty of meetup groups and there's other guide companies that exist, but what can I bring kind of to the table that's a little bit different? And that is that connection. I didn't start Girl Got Hike till 5 or 6 years after I thru hiked the AT, but in the meantime, I had done all those other hikes with Sprout, my trail bestie, and there's just, again, something different about doing a trip like that with other women. So it just kind of naturally happened, but I wanted, if I was going to take strangers out, not just my friends, I thought there's got to be some legality to this. And so I studied to get my guide license and picked off all of the requirements. And then I just put it out there. What can I help people? Where's the need in New York? A lot of people don't have cars. I happen to have a car. Not everybody could get to trail. So I started with finding hikes that maybe I had been to before by car, but that could also be accessed by public transit. So it basically started as a once monthly public transit series hike for women. And just kind of like sent out what people should bring. I was like a lot of women maybe going into a new venture, having imposter syndrome. I have thousands of miles of experience under my belt, but I've never actually been a guide before, so therefore I can't charge for things yet, until I'm the 100% expert. So for the first year or so, I actually just had free hikes, which was way longer than I needed it to be. Then I started accepting, I was like, well, how do I transition? Like, there's a lot of work that goes into planning trips, and this is a small business that allows me to like write off all of my camping trips, and it allows me to like keep my hiking habit alive. But it is also a legitimate business and people's lives are in my hands. So like, yes, I can charge for that. It just kind of has grown from there. I started offering some further afield trips where, I tried to get people to carpool together. Let's meet at Barclays Center in Brooklyn and then we'll, carpool up to the Catskills. Those are very long days. So then, okay, well, I like camping in the Catskills. I know what gear to have. I know a lot of people want to get into backpacking or overnights, but there's so much gear out there. It's so overwhelming. Apartments in the city are small. Like, it's a lot of money to invest all at once, but if I have the gear, then people just have to come and they can see if they like it before investing. I have this rotating roster of repeat hikers. Like just last weekend, a woman who came on the day hike, she was on my very first day hike 6 years ago as Girl Gotta Hike. And then she's been coming a couple times a year ever since. People bring their friends. Somebody moves away. Somebody else hears about it. A lot of people just find me by word of mouth or by Google. I don't, but I should post more often to Instagram, but people will find me there. Some hikers, they're new to New York. They just maybe they've hiked other places. Now they don't have a car. So they just kind of want to learn the ropes of how to get to trail via public transit, and then maybe I'll never see them again. Other people, it's the camaraderie of a bunch of people getting together who didn't know each other before, but you all have this thing in common, and none of their other friends like to hike, but they don't want to do it alone. So I provide that space for people to come together and to learn. And then others who've done backpacking trips with me have gone on afterwards to hike the whole Appalachian Trail. I have some alum who are now expert backpackers and, probably don't need a guide anymore, but may still come on a trip here and there because, they like the group effort. But yeah, it really just evolved, I would say, over time. And it continues to. And I'm continuing to try and figure out ways to fit more of Girl Gotta Hike in my daily life as a freelance photographer. Like, there's some natural fits. Like, I'd love to be shooting more for outdoor brands. I just haven't really marketed myself that way yet. So, like, the idea for me now living between Brooklyn and the Catskills, we have a cottage on the back of our property. Eventually, that's a place that hikers who don't have cars can come up the night before, and it's not so much of a slog to get up here, do a 10-mile hike, and then all the way back in one day. It's an exhausting day. So I've done, backpacking 101 workshops before with different groups. I do some solo one-on-one, learn how to backpack stuff, corporate trips. I think I give people enough information ahead of time that, as far as I know, no one's ever been upset, They know what they're in store for. And I think that's the best way also to help prevent incidents from happening. Letting people know ahead of time what they should bring, what they should wear, what the weather's going to be like. Goes a long way.
Though she's had so many other groups before, being one-on-one with Click was something really special. It somehow made me feel more comfortable with the fact that I was about to be in a tent for a whole night. If I was with a large group, I might not have been able to learn as much as I did at the perfect pace. For a first-time camper, I sure did get my beauty sleep. Our second day of hiking was ahead of us.
It's 11:02, which, for an overnight, not a bad leaving time. If we had many miles to do today, I would have woken you up earlier. We have around 4 miles today, so I expect we'll be done around 1, probably. Nice. The terrain's not too bad. Maybe 2, depending on how much of a break we take. But sometimes in the rain, you just want to be done, move a little more. All right, you'll notice it might just be a little slipperier today. So yeah, test out your steps with your sticks ahead of time. When I get to introduce other people to these new experiences, there's just something very peaceful, right, about being out in nature and seeing someone's smile at a viewpoint, or maybe they were previously unsure if they'd be able to get to the top and then they get there and are rewarded with a great view, or just simply have never been outside in the rain and didn't realize if you just wear a rain jacket and bring enough layers, it kind of expands their idea of what's possible, and you can just see that change on their face or in their understanding. And I'm not going to let weather stop me, within reason, of course. So that's really helpful for me to know that I'm helping to facilitate that for someone else. And I enjoy the planning of trips like this. There's a lot of logistics that can go into how do I get somebody outside and on this trail who doesn't have a car, Okay, let me look up the bus schedule. Let me look up taxi services, not letting those be a barrier to entry. If you've never done it before, figuring all that out, figuring what to wear, what to bring, what to eat, it's a lot. It's a lot to consider. So if I really enjoy those things and I can do that for someone else, take the hard part out of it, then they get that faster track to the mental peace that comes with walking in the woods. I think that's really a big part of it. But for myself, I've really found that even as much as I enjoy being outside and I have the skills and I have the experience of doing it on my own, I sometimes won't do it if I don't have a hike on the calendar. Once other people are counting on me, that accountability helps me to get out and enjoy it too, because it's really easy in modern life in general, but also being a freelancer and having a foot in two worlds, to let all the things I have to do or that seem very urgent take precedence, and that ends up keeping me inside. And there's days in Brooklyn I don't even leave the apartment. I just get caught up in emails and should do's, and I forget how much I need that counterbalance of the outdoors just to kind of let my mind have some space. It's almost like I didn't even realize at the time when I started putting hikes on the calendar that it's really that accountability to other people that will ensure that I get outside too, because I will put myself last sometimes. And once I've gone outside, once I've had that hike, even if you don't want to get up in the morning, if it's still dark and it's raining, you have to make your way to Grand Central to catch a train early on a Saturday morning. Never want to do that. But as soon as I'm there, and I see the other people and I'm on trail, it's oh, this is awesome. Why did, if I didn't have these people who've signed up and paid to come with me, I might have slept in. And wow, how much better my week is going to be now that I got to go for a hike on the weekend.
With ways to reinvent trips to cater towards new hikers, Click continually learns something new with each trip she leads. As we approached the end of the hike, Click and I went to the waterfall, where there was no more rain and a clear path to the end.
Woohoo, we did it.
We really did. High five.
High five. Okay, so we did, with the extra down and back, according to Gaia, we did 5.21 miles in a total time. 4 hours and 16 minutes, 52 seconds. We had an ascent of 845 feet, but we had a descent of 1,039. Average speed 1.2 miles per hour, moving speed 1.8 miles per hour, max speed 3.5 miles per hour. Wonder when that was. Great.
With our hike coming to a close, I wanted to thank Click, Melissa, and Girl Gotta Hike for this amazing journey. As a novice camper, I honestly expected the worst, and even trekking through the rain could not get our spirits down. This experience gave me a better understanding of what truly goes into backpacking, and I still have not a clue how Melissa got through months of carrying her whole life on her shoulders. I also wanted to give a special shout out to Cats Cast. This has been an amazing opportunity being able to get taken on as an intern. Thank you for trusting me, believing in my work, and allowing me to be on the team. Working with Cats Cast allowed me to explore the cat skills and become familiar with the Cats Cast family. The saying goes, this is an experience worth living for. And in my final semester of college, it all made it truly worth it.
Olivia, congratulations on your graduation, both from SUNY New Paltz and from this podcast. We loved having you. And while we're on the topic of women hikers, stay tuned for a special deal on a brand new book from Purple Mountain Press right after this.
Cats Cast is sponsored by the Mountain Eagle, covering Delaware, Greene, and Schoharie counties, including brands for local regions like the Wyndham Weekly, Schoharie News, and Catskills Chronicle. For more information, call 518-763-6854 or email mountaineaglenews@gmail.com. This episode is supported by Hanford Mills Museum. Explore the power of the past at their 2025 events that feature woodworking, historic machines, and even ice cream. You can find a calendar of events and more information about visiting the museum at hanfordmills.org. And by Briars and Brambles Books, the go-to independent book and gift store in the Catskills. Located in Wyndham, New York, right next to the pharmacy, just steps away from the Wyndham Path. Open daily. For more information, visit briarsandbramblesbooks.com or call 518-750-8599. Join us as a monthly member listener or make a one-time contribution at catscast.com/support. Thank you.
This week, Purple Mountain Press is releasing a new edition of Breaking Trail, Remarkable Women of the Adirondacks, including stories of courageous women who trailblazed through the Adirondacks in the 19th and early 20th centuries. There's a link in the show notes, and if you'd like 25% off plus free shipping, just enter the code CATSCAST at checkout. Deal ends May 31st. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.